Alright, here we have Venn diagrams and subsets that we're going over. So for number 1, draw the Venn diagram for U, which remember represents your universal set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that represents all your possibilities for this scenario. And then set A is 1, 5, and 7. And set B is 1, 2, 4, 7, and 8. And we want to draw the Venn diagram here. So I already have the box drawn, which the box always represents your universal set, U. And then inside there, you have your sets A and B in this case. So we'll have one circle that represents set A, and another circle that represents our set B. And we are going to have them overlap, since there is going to be something in common between those. And normally whenever you're drawing a Venn diagram, you want to start with the center, whatever is in common between the two sets. So if you look at your set A and set B, there is a 1 that they both have, and both sets have 7. So we can put the 1 and the 7 in the middle, since that's what they have in common. And then you want to see what else is in set A that we haven't already listed. So we haven't listed the 5, so that's going to go in just the part A that's not in the middle. And then part B, anything else that was in B that was not already listed, we want to list out in just part B, but not the intersection part. So we'd have 2, 4, and 8 is what is left in set B. And then on the outside, we want to put anything else that was in our universal set U up here that we haven't already listed in one of our circles. So here in this case, we have a 3 that is left, and we also have 6 that is left on the outside. And a lot of times I'll put comma in between if I'm writing them beside each other, or if you want to write them up and down, you can certainly do that as well. So there are multiple ways you can write it, but this would be one way of writing out that Venn diagram there. So once again, start in the middle and then work your way out. For part 2 here, using that set that we just drew, determine the following. So for part A, we want all the subsets of our set A. So all of our subsets, remember subsets are any portion of that set A. So all subsets have the empty set as a subset, so we'll have that empty set symbol. And then I will type out the other ones here. Remember, it's also any portion of that set. So here we'd also have the set 1 that contains just 1. We would have 5 by itself would be a subset. 7 by itself would be another subset. And then we'd have 1 and 5 is another subset. It's another part of set A. We'd also have 1 and 7. We would have 5 and 7. And then we'd also have 1, 5, and 7. The set itself, remember, is also a subset. And if you did it correctly here, we should have a total of 8 possibilities here. So we've got 4 to begin with, and then 4 of them that had 2 or more elements in it. Remember to calculate that out to figure out how many you need. You're really doing 2 to the 3rd power, since there were 3 elements in our set A. So that's how I got that. We knew we had to have 8 possibilities here. And then for part B, we want all the proper subsets of A. So remember, the only difference between a proper subset and a subset is that it cannot include the set itself. So here in this case, we'd actually have 7 possibilities instead, because we can't include this set itself. So I'm going to write down below, instead of copying them all down again, this would be all of the ones from part A except for our set 1, 5, and 7, since it can't include the set itself for a proper subset. Subsets it can, but proper subsets, the only one it does not include is the set itself, which was 1, 5, and 7 for set A. And then the last part, part C, we have the elements of B and then the apostrophe symbol. Remember, that means B complement, which is totally different than our set B. In fact, it means what is not in B. So you want to look at our set B there, and we need to list out everything that was not in this set B, that was in that universal set to begin with. So you can think of this as not B. What is not in B? So now a lot of times there's some confusion on those complement symbols. So for our complement of B, the ones that were not in B, that were in that universal set, you should end up with 3, 5, and 6 here. And I'll scroll back up so that you can see that a little bit better here. Because if you look at your set B, it doesn't have a 3. There's no 3 in here. There's no 6. And there's also no 5. So there's no 3, there's no 5, and there is no 6 in there. Those are the ones that were missing that were in that universal set. So that means they are in B complement. Between your set B and your B complement, it should include the entire universal set if you did it correctly. And then make sure if you do have questions, make sure to ask like normal.